It's a quiet April day, rainy, and a great time to assess last season's hunting. And you can see I'm sitting in one of our insulated box blinds with great visibility out into corn food plot and great visibility about 200 yards down into the woods where the deer come out at night. We had amazing growth in the food plot last year, and the deer didn't really pay attention to it until the snow fell. And then our trail cam captured lots of shots over the course of late November, December, and into early January. Just about every night we had shots of deer in picking at the corn cobs, and eventually they cleared all of the corn out of the plot. So we're plowing up last year's food plot. It's the third week in May. Soil's dried out enough, then we'll probably plant this back into a food plot right after Memorial Day weekend. So this year the plan is to put in a couple of rows of soybeans into the middle of the cornfield to create more edge. And then I'll put turnips or radishes, some kind of brassica, in between the rows, just as a soil saver and as additional nutrition for the deer. It really worked well last year. We had deer on this food plot well until January, slowly eating all the corn. And I think they'll be back as soon as they recognize what it is. The idea was that we would plow up a hayfield that was ready for reworking and plant rye mid to late August, hoping that the rye would provide a green food source for through hunting season. Then we disked and picked the rocks in both locations. Now, rye is a late season cover crop, pretty popular with farmers who want to cover their dirt. The idea is that you would work up the field in fall, plant this cover crop of rye, and it would germinate and get green cover in a matter of a couple of weeks to cover the soil, so it would eliminate erosion. But the side benefit is a rich green cover crop that grows up and maintains green right up until early snow. We got rye seed from the local feed store, and actually it's not seed, it was mixed feed rye, inexpensive and not particularly pure. You can see the kernels of corn in there, but we didn't really care because our goal is just for a green mat to cover the dirt, something that the deer would dig around in and graze on. Boy, that didn't take long. An overnight rain, and we've got rye up. It's overnight up 2-3 inches. You can see the rows all the way across the food plot. And look how the deer are treating the rye in this food plot. extensive tracks and digging. So how did we do? Well, you can look behind me and see the deer are out here and they're actively using the rye. You can see the tracks all around me. You can see spots where they're in here digging, and what the deer have chewed off this rye, the tops of it, pretty steadily since September. They've been coming and going out of here and hunting these fields. We were able to get several deer during rifle season. Now we'll be moving into muzzleloader, and we'll see if our luck continues. But here is evidence that the deer are definitely enthusiastic about the rye. So it's mid-November, the week between rifle season and muzzleloader season. And for the first time since we planted it here, this food plot, we're getting activity from deer overnight. You can see they're knocking corn cobs off the stalks. There's extensive tracks here. And they're picking the kernels off the cobs that are on the stalks. There's a lot of digging around, and I can't tell if they're eating the soybeans, but they've been tromping all around in these soybeans, which is the bulk of this food plot. You can see soybeans through the middle. Corn rows on the east side, 4 of them, and corn rows over there on the west side, 10 or 12 of them. But through the middle here is all soybeans, and they're getting hammered. The deer, who may have been in here earlier, are just chewing up this rye like crazy. So it's almost like somebody flicked a switch and said, come on in and eat this rye.